Hi everyone, my name is Maliha Faruqi.
I'm Manastaga.
I'm Ismail Kaga.
I'm Monsi Gisala.
And this is our Systems Analysis and Design project. Our project is called Safe Drive, and we are so excited to show you all more about it. Today, Ismail will be giving an introductory on our project. I'll be discussing how our app will be effective and our scope. Manas will be discussing the functional and non-functional requirements, and Manasi will be discussing the project's expected value along with the project restraints.
All right, thank you, Malia. Now I'm going to talk about our project, Safe Drive. Safe Drive is an app that aims to promote a safer attitude towards driving, decrease unsafe driving practices, and to overall encourage drivers to make smarter decisions while driving, eventually reducing the amount of fatal motor vehicle crashes. The purpose of this proposed system is to define the need and functionality of Safe Drive. In the United States for the year 2018 alone, approximately 36,835 people lost their lives due to motor vehicle crashes. The amount of fatal motor vehicle crashes is rising each year, and more people are dying due to reckless driving, distracted driving, and unsafe driving practices. Next slide. So what are we working on? So what we are working on focuses on identifying the issues that comes with driving and providing solutions for them with the help of our app. The first problem deals with the fact that many drivers, young and old, are distracted by the phones while driving. The solution for this is by reducing on-road distraction and restricting phone access, which will result in higher focused drivers and less on-road distractions. The next problem, currently too many drivers develop bad road habits, which can lead to unnecessary accidents and death and a high death rate. The solution for this is by interacting with other users, which will allow drivers to collaborate and improve their driving over time. So now I'll just pass it on to Manas.
Hi guys, so I'm going to be discussing how Safe Drive will help to save lives. So our primary goal is to save lives and reduce deaths due to motor vehicle crashes, and our app aims to do this in three main ways. So Drive Score, driving recommendations, and user interactions are going to be the three ways that are going to work together to help us achieve our goal. So first, a driver will be monitored while driving, and the monitoring includes metrics such as the driver's speed relative to speeding limits in that particular zone, brake time, monitoring average speed, average distance traveled, as well as tracking the amount of times the driver looked at their phone. By analyzing these metrics, a user will be given a driver score, and after that, analyzing the data from each drive, the application will be able to provide tips and advice on safer practices and promoting safer driving habits. Users will then be able to interact with other users in a forum-based platform within the app and collaborate on ways to improve driving scores. Now I'm going to be discussing the scope. So the project will target drivers as its primary users, and the project will be a software implementation. The project will be implemented to mobile devices. It's going to use a system to track the vehicles. It'll use a system to aim to monitor vehicles and driver speed. It's going to use a system to track the amount of times the driver looked at their devices and then limit third-party apps as well. The application will attempt to block internet access and then attempt to limit social media applications as well. And the system will also alert the user on road distractions, and the application will block messages and calls unless stated as emergencies. So the project and application hopes to target any driver, but young and inexperienced drivers will be our primary demographic. And then since it is within our scope of the application to restrict distractions, the primary goal of the project is to provide an application that can promote a safer attitude towards driving and decrease unsafe driving practices. At a later stage, we will attempt to broaden the scope of the project by developing a web application to cover more platforms and operating devices, but for now, we're just a mobile application. Within the project, we hope to create a tool that inexperienced drivers can use to learn how to drive in a safe manner and reduce on-road accidents and deaths by following suggestions specifically created for them, by monitoring their driving habits and analyzing driving metrics. A driver will then be able to access calls and messages for emergencies. However, limitations will be placed, such as pop-up alerts, before they can click on a third-party app. Through the use of an innovative driver score and personalized suggestions, users will be able to learn how to drive safely. Now Manas will be discussing the project requirements.
So the Safe Drive app will have 8 core functional requirements. The first is to register user accounts. The system must be able to create and store these user accounts and information on the app. Next is login. The system must allow users to log into the app once and then save that login information so that the next time the user opens the app, they don't have to enter the password every time. Third is retrieving passwords. So if the user forgets their password, the system must be able to go back and retrieve stored passwords from the app. Fourth is account information. The system must be able to reset or update user account information at any time necessary. Fifth is blocking applications. The system must block apps on the user's phone once they are driving, which is when the user specifies that when they click on the drive mode button. Sixth is emergencies. The system should allow users to specify an emergency so that they can use their phones in the case of an emergency. Next is targeted advice. The system should give users targeted driving advice based on their driving score, past user data, and analysis conducted during drive mode. Finally, user interaction. The system should allow users to follow each other, create forums, and privately chat with each other. So moving on to non-functional requirements. The first is design. The design of the application must be visually appealing. The colors and fonts and overall design must be eye-catching for the user when they first open up the app. Next is reliability. The Safe Drive application must be reliable and function at all times. Third is performance. The application must run smoothly and all navigation should be done with speed and no lag. Fourth is security. The application provides security for user details such as account, vehicle information, or personal information that the user inputs onto the app. Fifth is user experience. The user should be able to navigate through the application without any problems, and the app should be intuitive so that the user is never lost within the app. Finally, the app must be maintainable. This means that it must be easy and intuitive to the system administrator to maintain. So now I'd like to pass it on to Manasi.
All right, so I'll be talking about the expected values for this project. So there are 9 listed values for this project. The first one is to improve drivers' awareness and distractions. The second one is to decrease road distractions. And 3 is to block distractions from the device. Number 4 is to restrict third-party apps. Number 5 is to limit web browsing. Number 6 is to alert the driver on the speed of their vehicle so they stay updated. Number 7 is to track average distance traveled. Number 8 is to provide tips and give advice on safer driving. And number 9 is to maintain car in better shape due to more efficient driving methods. So therefore, by using this application, drivers will be able to improve on their driving and avoid distractions while on the road. The driver will pay more attention on the road than on their device. The driver will begin to realize the mistakes they are making and learn better driving habits. Therefore, with this application, drivers will be able to improve on their mistakes and have fun driving safely. Now I'll be talking about constraints. There are 3 types: time, resources, and budget. So the first one is time. So there will be a limitation of under 3 months to complete the project. And the next one is resources. So limitation in technical knowledge on creating software systems, and team members are also unable to work on this project full time. And then lastly, budget, because there will be limitation on financial resources. Next, we'll be discussing about diagrams.
All right, I'll be discussing about the use case diagram right now. The use case diagram is a representation of a user's interaction with Safe Drive, and it shows the relationship between the user and the different use cases in which the user is involved. The first use case diagram describes how customers will register and create an account on the Safe Drive app. The second use case diagram, the login, describes how users can successfully enter the app to use all of its features. The activate drive mode describes how users can activate drive mode so that it can restrict app access and analyze users' driving habits. The activate drive mode describes how users can deactivate drive mode so that it can stop how the user look at another user's post. Maintain system. Finally, the use case diagram on the system administrator describes how a system system administrator can describe that profile to maintain the Safe Drive app. And I'll just pass it on to the next person.
So I'd like to talk about the sequence diagram, and this is for the user registration use case. So when the user first opens up the app, they are directed to the registration page where they enter a username and password. The system then validates that username and password, and if both validate, the user is added to the server and then the user is redirected to the home page. But if either the username or password is not validated, an error message is displayed to the user to re-enter a new username or password, and then the system then validates those two parameters again. And if now it's validated, the user is added to the server and then redirected to the home page.
Okay, now we'll be talking about the communication diagram. So this is for the activate drive mode aspect. So we have the user who will log into the app, and then the second step is for them to click on drive mode icon, which will alert the system. And then for third step, they will select drive option, which will be the I am driving, and then it will go back to drive mode activated for the user.
So I'll be discussing the user interface design. So this is just a rough design layout for our user interface. We've made it really simple and concise in terms of words and even colors because we don't want there to be too much flooding the page, causing the driver to become confused or even distracted. It should be a very simple to use design layout so the user is able to log in, activate drive mode, and then have the chance to deactivate it once the user is finished driving. After that, the user will receive driving tips and suggestions and will receive their driver score or their updated driver score. And after that, the user has the chance to share this with other friends and profiles and collaborate with others to encourage safer driving practices all around. And that would be all for our presentation. So thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We hope you enjoyed and learned some new things regarding driving and safe practices. We look forward to answering any questions, so feel free to leave a comment, and we welcome constructive feedback.